take your rubber spatula, scoop it all out, and smear it into an ice tray, and then freeze them. And what I'm going to ask you to do, instead of having a triple cheeseburger, is you can have 3 cubes of peas gelato for dinner for the rest of this week. I'm asking him to change his behavior from eating triple cheeseburgers to doing something a little bit more helpful with his health and his weight loss. And asking somebody to eat peas gelato is like taking a puck to the chest. That's gross. You know, that, I mean, who wants to do something like that? But I'm going to ask them to persist at it anyway. Stick with this diet because you need to lose a certain amount of weight before the surgeon will think about giving you weight loss surgery. Kind of ironic if you think about it, but I'll get beyond that. I'm trying to help you lose weight, but eating that peas gelato is taking a puck to the chest. You got to stick with it even though you don't like it. Well, why would I want to, the client might ask, go from eating triple cheeseburgers to eating peas? Right. You can remember, you know, just it's not, that's not what behavior analysis is. It's just a kind of a format in brief. What we're talking about in behavior analysis, you're usually talking about the antecedent, the behavior, and consequence. It's the way we look at it in a very linear way, A, B, C. And then think about CBT, another tradition that ACT comes from, and they've got something very similar. Albert Ellis had something called, you know, there's an activating event, and then there's a belief, and then there's an emotional consequence, which leads to disputation, and then leads to effective emotion and action. A, B, C, D, E, another linear model. They're both linear models. They're both where ACT comes from, but if you look on the screen, you can see that there's a circular model on the screen. That's what ACT is all about. We're going to try to teach people to accept the way that they feel. So I would suggest what you could do is learn more about metaphorical interventions. Metaphor is a way that you try to grab a person's understanding about things and apply it to a new situation, or have them have an experience and apply it to this situation. So this could be someone's depression or anxiety, right? What we're doing when we're teaching acceptance is encouraging people to take on a viewpoint that's counterintuitive. You want me to have the way I feel instead of get rid of it, but it's a negative emotion. Why are you telling me to have it? Because the more you try to get rid of it, the worse it gets. So there's a book out there. You still care about going west? I mean, if your values do change, but let's say the sort of person says, yeah, I still value westerly directed behavior. Great. Now we need to set up another goal. But what are we going to do? How about we choose Moscow? That's a good one. All right, that's west from Seattle. But now you can't walk and drive there anymore, right? You need to be psychologically flexible. You have to change your behavior in the service of chosen values. When you're from Chicagoland to Helena, you persisted in that chosen value and chosen direction by getting yourself to Seattle by walking and driving some more. But now you got to change your behavior. Now you got to like get a kayak or a a submarine or a wetsuit, or I would just suggest getting a plane ticket. But that is now a change of behavior in order to keep following through on your values. I hope that metaphor makes sense to you. I use that particular way of describing things quite a bit with